Hey Supermom! We know every mom has a desire and ability to be a supermom who does it all. So tune in to the Crunchy Supermom Show and let's design a holistic life that fits.
Hey Supermoms, I'm Mandy.
And I'm Sarah.
And right now, our families are actually totally healthy, which is
Woo!
awesome for now, right? But for now only. I can only hope that lasts because cold and flu season is coming here. We want you to be prepared, so we're going to spend today talking about what you can do to prevent those nasty illnesses. So here's my crazy story. Have you heard the news story about the biochemist that believes that kids actually eat their own boogers because it can help their immunity? And yeah, it's
No.
kind of gross. Yeah. I have no idea if it's actually true. I've seen other stuff where scientists say, yeah, no, not. But I guess it did help me calm down because it is a disgusting habit. And we were, freaking out about it. And we're like, stop. But I mean, at this point, I think it's pretty clear that it's not really healthy for us to live in a sanitized environment. So I guess it could be the same for nose picking, but I mean, still, ew. And I don't want to go on and on about, nose picking or boogers or even cleanliness because this podcast is not about that.
We're losing people.
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone. They're gone. Anyway, this is about how to prevent illness and with some of our favorite immune boosters. And just like with all of our other podcasts, we do not want you to take notes. We've already done that for you. So in order to get the show notes for today's episode, all you have to do is go to crunchysupermom.com/holistic health. And there we're going to link everything that we talk about in the show and provide you with your action plan. So all you have to do is sit back and listen stress-free. Just make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode or our notes. So, Sarah, let's just jump right into this. What are your top 3 remedies in your house for colds and flu?
I'm still stuck on the booger eating thing. If my girls did that, I'm not sure how I'd handle it.
They used to have boys, 3 older boys, right?
Okay, I hope it's a boy thing then.
Yeah, because Claire didn't do it.
So, in the past, my entire house has had the pleasure of enduring influenza A and influenza B. I was on call both times, so I had to get swabbed and confirmed. But the biggest thing that saved us during that was the Epsom salt bath, and I always forget this. And then as soon as I do, I'm like kicking myself because it works so well. So the Epsom salt bath, it's a little painful if you put too much in. And I don't know how else to describe it, but say it's a little trippy, kind of like euphoric in a way, at least for me. I mean, it really draws the toxins out. Just for me, it's kind of hard to get small children in the bath when they're really sick, which is when it works the best. So the second thing, I call them jacked up teas. Whatever I can cram into a tasty tea that kind of matches the symptoms they're dealing with, like lemon, a really strong dose of cinnamon, honey, marshmallow root, slippery elm, and immune boosting herbs like echinacea, or I always slaughter this, astragalus. I don't know how to say that.
I don't know. I'm terrible with that one too. I need to look it up.
It's like astragalus.
That's pretty much how I say it in my head when I'm reading it.
Okay, well, that's the herb I'm talking about. So, and just a quick reminder again, like you don't have to write any of this down. Go grab the show notes from the episode at crunchysupermom.com/holistic health. And we'll link to these weird herbs we're talking about and any recipes too. So, the last thing for us is the elderberry tablets or capsules or even the zinc elderberry lozenges. They've become my favorite remedy for everything. And I know that a lot of people on blogs quote like supposed research that says elderberry reduces your chance of getting sick. But if you really read it, it actually says that it reduces the duration of illness. So it doesn't promote general wellness. So I'm basically saying don't take elderberry syrup every single day during cold and flu season, but do take it as soon as you're exposed or showing signs of sickness. And the tablets and capsules have been, they've given us the best results in my house compared to like elixirs and syrups and tinctures and stuff I've made or stuff I've bought. So I don't know, Mandy, like, do you have a different take on that?
I I am with you totally on not just taking it, elderberry or using it just to prevent illness. It does not seem to help us either, but I'm the same way. I give it immediately as we start to get sick, or if one person starts to get sick in the house. But I am surprised to hear about the tablets and the capsules because we hear so much about all the syrups, but I am not that big of a fan of the syrups either. I mean, I don't know. I've made them before, but I don't know. I can see how the tablets or the lozenges especially would really, really work.
Yeah, I wonder if it's because I give it to them like frequently, it's just easier to dose it. I don't know if that's why, but
Maybe it is. Maybe it's more the frequency. It could be.
yeah, it
Yeah.
works. So.
We stick it in things like our water kefir. I try to get it in different ways like that. So it is dosing, I guess, so I get it. We'll put it in the water kefir to flavor that, maybe I'll do a syrup or another tea, or we do herbal infusion and I stick them in there. So yeah, we just try to do it as much as possible because really I have 4 kids. And so the illnesses just travel through the whole family. And it's not like it's all at one time, you just knock it out, get it done. But
No.
it'd be like one gets it and then, a week later it spreads to the next. And so it's like we spend what feels like weeks, someone being sick and we're just trapped in the house because, you never know who's contagious exactly.
Right.
So those times are really, really rough and immune support is just key. And I guess the biggest immune builder that we focus on is probiotic foods. And I mean, you just can't go wrong loading up on them. And we try to do that even more during the cold and flu season. I mean, 80% of our immune system is actually in our digestive system. So you really have to address the gut when you're talking about, immune health and everything. And our guts produce vitamins, help us absorb the nutrients and minerals. And it's also our major detoxifier. And, one of the most dreaded illnesses, especially for moms, is any kind of stomach or intestinal problems.
Yes.
Those are the worst and they go on forever. And so the probiotic foods, again, they help to keep the bad bacteria at bay. They will repopulate the gut with good bacteria if you do have an illness like that. And my favorite probiotic ferment is my raw milk dairy kefir. I love yogurt too, but it's kefir is special because it can usually colonize the gut with the bacteria, whereas yogurt's more, I think, transient, I guess you would consider. But for me, it's important to have the dairy raw, but it's not easy to get raw milk everywhere. I mean, It's illegal in some states and everything.
Yeah,
so yeah, exactly there. And so the good thing is that even non-raw fermented dairy is incredibly healthy for our guts. And if you can tolerate dairy, and some people find it doesn't work for them, but for others, it's really a miracle worker. And even if you cannot tolerate milk or anything like that, kefir can still be an option because the fermentation process breaks down the casein, and which is the most difficult protein to digest for people and what there's so many allergies to. And it also reduces the lactose and increases the lactase, which makes it it's like pre-digested basically for people. And we talk about this in one of our blog posts, and we include the recipe as well as links to where to find the grains. And we'll have that for you in our show notes for sure. So you don't have to worry about writing that down. One thing I read recently that was really interesting about probiotic foods was in relation to sinusitis. And apparently kimchi is the ferment of choice for that.
Wow.
And we'll have that linked, but it was crazy because it was like basically swab the inside of your nose with the kimchi juice. And people were having astounding, I can't imagine, but I've only had sinusitis like about one time. And if I was in the middle of it, I would be getting some kimchi and trying it because it was horrible. And when I had it, but I'm just thankful I don't get it. And people were talking about how they had it often and how it was like the only thing that's worked for them. So yeah, I would be definitely trying it.
Yeah, me too. We always have kimchi on hand.
Yeah, true. My second thing that I focus on is definitely bone broth. And I mean, again, we have soups all year, but I mean, who doesn't love it, especially during the winter months when It's colder? I mean, we just all look forward to it more. And we call it bone broth, or you can call it stock. But basically, either way, it has cartilage, the marrow, and some vegetables, and the bones, obviously, in it. That's what's ideal for the preparation. And what I found interesting was Dr. Pottinger actually made a point that the stock or broth supplies the hydrophilic colloids that to the diet similar to how raw foods do. So both raw foods and broth attract the digestive juices and make it digestion easy, rapid, and very effective. And some people can't tolerate raw vegetables in their diet, so because their guts are severely impaired. But the broth is one way to easily aid your body in digesting foods. And the gelatin in the broth, the stuff that makes the jello jiggly, is incredibly important. And we want this in our diets because it helps the digestion again. And it contains arginine and glycine, and those are incredibly important, especially to keep all the muscle meats that we eat balanced in our diet. And we don't get enough glycine from the muscle meats alone. And so the gelatin in the broth provides that and helps the body more fully utilize the proteins that we do take in. And broth is just not complicated to make. And if you get in the habit of making it, and it does store in the freezer, so that's nice too. And our family favorite is just chicken soup as far as soups go, and it's so simple to make and so affordable. I stick some organic rice noodles in our chicken soup to make it chicken noodle, and you would think that I had spent just hours making this amazing meal with how excited my kids get about just this simple soup. And I don't really even know why. Maybe it's the noodles. I don't know.
That definitely wins my kids over. And I've been taking mushrooms and mashing them and then like dehydrating them and then blending them to make mushroom powder.
Oh, wow,
that
that's awesome.
has been making the kids like die for the soup, and they hate mushrooms. Hate them.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to say I love mushrooms, but my kids do not agree. So that's amazing. I'm going to do that.
It's good. It's good and worth it.
That is, yeah. I can't wait to try that. My third thing is olive oil and high vitamin butter oil. And I just feel like we have to have that during the winter. We take it all year, but we really focus on it in the winter months because we don't get enough vitamin D. And then our raw butter and cream is just not heavy in vitamin A during the winter months either. And we take the butter oil and the olive oil in combination because it's an excellent source of both A and D, and the combination together is important for balance. And the omega-6 and it works together in balance for that. And the saturated fat that actually is in the butter oil helps push the DHA from the cod liver oil into the tissues. And I've learned more about how the ratios of omega-3 to 6 are important into keeping a balance. And so when I read things about, how our diet is devoid of that, high in omega-6, I start to, really want to push this in our diets. And I am tempted to overdo things. I have overdone the cod liver oil before and the butter oil. But moderation is key with this. And I don't think more is necessarily better. And even Dr. Price, who was like the champion of cod liver oil, says too much cod liver oil has toxic effects. And he always used the cod liver oil and the butter oil together. And I don't know, have you seen good results in your diet with the cod liver oil and the butter oil?
Yeah, definitely. And, like going off what you just said here, like a lot of the people, I hate to call them out, but like Sally Fann and the Wesley Price people, originally when I was reading about it, they're like, take 6 or 20 or whatever capsules, right? Or, I mean, it's just this like crazy amount. And then when you read some of the things, like the scary things that happen to people, those are the people that were like religiously taking that amount every single day, and bad things happen to them. Yes. So I was happy to find out that really, if you just take it, this is the mom prescription, right? Just take it whenever you remember it, and remember to give it to the kids, and you'll probably be taking exactly how much you need. And so now that we've done that versus taking it a lot, because it was like burning my stomach, burning my throat, and it was just making me feel pretty terrible, really, and the kids too. Now that we take it, I would say like 5 days out of 7, especially here, but we don't take nearly as much, and it's definitely helped. And our vitamin D levels have always risen by taking it, except for when we lived in Washington State. By year 3, it was the first time that we noticed like it wasn't doing it. So it's true, like you said, like the combination of it, it's amazing, like how it just really does work.
Yeah, the combination, I don't even think Weston Price, he didn't find any results with just the cod liver oil. It was really the combination, and that was what the story is like he brought people back from their deathbeds, basically by giving that to them, the combination. And he didn't even know why. The science is behind it more, the balance of omega-3 and 6 and everything, and the saturated fat. We know more about it now, but he didn't even know as much. He called it activator X in the butter oil. But now we know that the combination is what works synergistically together to be the most effective. And, we could we could talk about this all day. We do talk about it, even like our personal time, we talk about it together, this is something we're so passionate about. But we better not just go on and on.
I know. Yeah, we definitely could. I mean, especially, people call this the cold and flu season, and it's technically not a season. I mean, it's the reason that this happens, why we have so many colds and flus during this time of the year, is a lot of people in the United States are inside, and getting outside, getting fresh air, open up your windows a lot, as much as you can. Like, those are important steps too. And so we really hope that you've enjoyed what we've said here, and you can get started building up your immunity before any of the illnesses hit your family. And a lot of these things work to treat the cold or flu if it does hit your home. And again, we've put together a packet of tools to get you started. So make sure you check out the show notes at crunchysupermom.com/holistic health. And we're available to answer your questions. We love getting questions from you. And there's a wealth of knowledge in our group on Facebook. All the super moms we have in there are just amazing. And we've included an invitation to that group in our show notes. So when you go to that link, we'll get you started. So until next time, stay super.